Michael, it's always a treat to welcome to our broadcast microphones our good friend, proudly representing the 14th District. It's Congressman Randy Hultgren. Congressman, good morning to you.
Hey, Riley, how are you?
Doing great this morning. How's everything going?
Things are good.
Congratulations on your victory last night as well.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm a little tired. It was a late night, I know, for a lot of us, but an amazing night. Yeah, one I'll never forget. And for me, certainly so grateful to the people of the 14th Congressional District for allowing me to continue to work for them, to fight for them, to serve them. And I just am so excited about the possibility of having a House and a Senate and a White House working together to solve real problems that people are facing. I think we've got some big challenges, but some incredible opportunities. I just am so optimistic about our future, and we just need to get to work. I'm ready. I think that's how a lot of us feel. Is let's go now. You know, we've wanted to get things done for so long, and been so frustrated where things just kind of bump up against brick walls. Now we kind of have some hope and chance of really getting some significant things done that's going to be good for America for a long time.
Well, first off, I want to echo Michael in congratulating you. Obviously, the voters in your district recognize a good man who does a good job for them, and we recognize that as well. So the deepest congratulations to you and your outstanding staff.
Thank you.
I got to ask you, you talked about ready to get to work. I mean, tell me and tell all of us how the landscape for what you do and what we're looking at is going to change.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be significant. I think we'll have a White House that is engaged, working with the legislature to say, what is it going to take to get this economy growing? What's it going to take to get health care that really is doctor-patient focused, that cares for people who need care, but gives people choices, lets them make a lot of these decisions with their family and their doctor for health care, looking at how do we make our borders work, how do we put ourselves in a place where we're strong, a strong light for liberty and freedom around the world, where it seems like so much of that has slipped. So I think a lot of good ideas out there. We've been working really hard in the House to put together what we call a better way. We think some real solutions to a broken tax code, to health care that needs real solutions, to protection, making sure our military has the resources they need, and that we are strong at home, but also strong around the world.
I know work with Congressman Ryan and now Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan, and he's maintained that majority as the Republicans have maintained majority of the Senate. I know that there'll be an election like there is every beginning of the new term of a congressman for Speaker of the House. Are you given any indications that Paul Ryan is or is not going to run for re-election, or by anything that you're hearing, he's going to run for re-election again? And do you think he is going to be elected Speaker of the House again?
Well, my guess is that he would run. I haven't heard anything different from that. There's still, 8 or 9 congressional races that are yet to be determined. We certainly lost a couple seats. It was very sad to see that Bob Dole was not successful, didn't win last night. He's a great guy and works so hard. It's just a very, very difficult district, the way that Springfield drew that district. It's really, really tough in a presidential year for any Republican to win. But so sad to see some losses. But, for the most part, I think our strong Republican numbers are going to be there. Leadership is going to be there. So my hope is we can pull together. We can, again, have good ideas, be able to recognize that we have different ideas. We don't always agree, but we ultimately want to get good things done for America, for our own constituents, for our own families. And so I think that's what I'm hoping towards. I do think there'll be a great opportunity to pull together, and we'll see. We're going to have a conference call here later today just to really talk about, next steps. We'll head back out to Washington next week, and we'll jump right into those leadership elections. And we'll have to see. I don't know. I would definitely assume that Paul Ryan is running again for Speaker. I don't know if there'll be anybody else who will run as well.
How many, you've been around this game for a while. How many people did you look around at or talk to whose jaws actually hit the floor last night, who this, in their wildest dreams, was nothing they expected that would happen?
yeah, just about everybody. We were just so conditioned. And you know what? I was skeptical of the polls, but they were there. I mean, you can't ignore it when every single poll is saying 4%, 8%. It's hard to turn away from that. But then I just know they just aren't as accurate as they used to be, and it's a different day of how to determine where people are at, and especially this election. I think it was polling is very not a precise science anyways, and then this year I just think a lot of people didn't want to say. I think there was a lot of people who either didn't say or haven't voted and weren't on that likely voter list that a lot of polling firms use to see, who's going to come out. I think it was a whole new group of people. So we're going to have to analyze this. I think there's still a lot to learn from it, but it was a significant statement that the American people said that we are really sick and tired of big government telling us everything, really determining direction of decisions for our families, for our faith, so much intervention on behalf of government, and really saw, did they want a third term of that, or did they want a new direction? And even with questions that they had, they decided that we need to change. We cannot stand to see what might happen with another 4 years. And so I'm proud of the American people. Obviously, we've got big challenges ahead. I'm look at the TV, and I'm so excited to see a friend of mine, Mike Pence, as our vice president. I think he will be amazing. I think he will be a really good connection point between the administration and the legislature, the Congress and the Senate. So, yeah, I think a lot of people were shocked because we've just been beaten over and over and over that this was a done deal. And yet it isn't. It is never a done deal, and that's the beauty of the ability for we in America to be able to get to choose who leads us, that it really is government of the people, by the people, for the people. And until the people speak, we don't know. The media doesn't know who our leaders are going to be. So as surprising as it was, I think, a really good night, and now a big work ahead of us.
And unfortunately, like you mentioned, Illinois seems to be going the opposite way that the rest of the country is. This happened in 2010 in the midterm elections then, where Pat Quinn was elected despite the Republican wave of 2010. We had Leslie Munger defeated last night by less than 5 points. You mentioned your colleague Bob Dole lost his congressional seat, and the indications are right now, I haven't seen the actual announcement, but I don't know that the legislature, as far as in Springfield goes, I don't know if the Republicans picked up any Senate seats or House seats here. I know that there are still some that they're counting. But what does that say about Illinois, where we always seem politically to be going more to the left, while the rest of the country seems to be going more to the right?
Yeah, disappointing. Again, as you look at the map of the country, and then you look at the map of Illinois, it's almost all red, except huge Democratic vote, blue vote that comes out of Chicago, and then a pretty significant blue vote right down by East St. Louis, and that continued again this time. But it's just frustrating. We do need to change, and we'll see. I'm hearing that we did pick up a couple seats in the House and a couple in the Senate. I was hearing maybe a net gain of 3 or 4 in the House last night. Maybe that changes with more counting, but that would be a big deal. I was disappointed because I really do think Leslie Munger has been doing a very good job of identifying the problem, of pointing to that we've got to have a budget in place, and this idea of no budget, no pay, I think is really important, of putting pressure on Springfield to do their job, to do their work, to get the leadership in the House and the Senate down there to get going. I mean, it's so stuck, and we feel the consequences because a lot of my territory that I get to represent is right on the border of Wisconsin, and we've seen companies up and move. A lot of them now we're holding off with Governor Rauner there and some of the changes he's making, but they're only going to hold out so long, and so we've got to do everything we can, not only to attract business here, but as important, or maybe more important, is keep good jobs and good businesses here. And it becomes more and more difficult as Springfield remains stuck.
Yeah, just looking at the map here, if Michigan does go to Trump, which they're still putting too close to call, but he's up by, 40, 50,000 votes, and that goes red, Illinois will be completely surrounded for the first time, I think, ever with red states. Blue in the middle of a bunch of red states.
Yep. Yeah. It's powerful visual to see it, and but it's also, we feel it. That every other state around us is doing better, and it's, to me, it goes back to those who have been there for 30 or 40 years, and just seeing nothing break through there. So I hope we can. I hope some of these seats do hold, that we can break this supermajority status that Mike Madigan had in the House, and break the supermajority status or lessen it for President Cullerton in the Senate, and somehow get them back together, working with Governor Rauner to say we've got to find solutions for Illinois that can keep jobs and businesses here and start growing these things. Every other state around us is doing the right thing, and we need to do it as well.
Congressman, before we let you go, because I know today's got to be a crazy, crazy busy day, what should people be keeping an eye on now during transition time as we head toward January? What are some of the things that we should keep an eye on, suggesting that movement is afoot?
Well, yeah, I think it's going to come quickly with some good ideas, put some early priorities together by the Trump administration, also selecting a cabinet and leadership. I think that's going to be very important. My sense is they're going to be looking for the best people, the people who can get it done. I think part of this was the voters wanted a president who really didn't owe anybody, that wasn't beholden to certain people or certain groups or, certain individuals, where they feel like, oh, I got to pay that person off with this position or whatever. Trump doesn't have that. It's really unique in our lifetime to have somebody, really in the history of America, to have someone like that his only allegiance really is to the voters. And that's a beautiful thing. I mean, that is really how it's supposed to be. And so I think he's going to be selecting people who can step right in and get the job done. I mean, that's what I thought his speech was really good a couple hours ago, early this morning. But just of saying, I thought it was very presidential, very humble, but just talking about what a historic night this is. But it's not really historic until we can show we got the job done, until we get results. And so that's what it's going to be, is let's get some results. It's going to take time. This has been significant over these last 8 years of huge growth of government. It's going to take some time to start changing that direction of this huge ship of state to get it back where it's focused on liberty and opportunity and less on government intervention. So I think it is who these people are going to be serving in these important roles, and what some of the first priorities are going to be that we're going to dig into and deal with, and finding some solutions that can bring people together rather than divide people.
Congressman, as always, thanks a lot for your time. Once again, congratulations on your victory. We really appreciate you taking time out of your day for us.
Yes, congratulations.
Great. Thanks, Riley. Thanks, Michael. Good to be with you guys. Again, appreciate so much what you guys do. You guys are awesome at getting great information out to your listeners. That is so important. And that's, again, what these elections are all about. So thank you for what you guys do. Keep up the great work, and it's really a privilege to work with you guys.